Okay, so this is the strength phase for a wide receiver. Usually, high school strength phase, where we're talking if they're a single sport athlete, depending on where they are in the cycle, could be anywhere from, early March, or we're talking, middle of July. It just depends on how they set up the program. So what we're going to do is we want a lot of multi-joint movements. All right, football is a very dynamic sport, a lot of cutting, a lot of agility, so we want to make sure that the joint muscles are strong. The joints are very strong, and the muscles that support those joints are strong. So the first one we're going to add in the strength phase is the deadlift. I like to keep this fairly simple. We adjust the bar, the shin should be right there. We want to break at the hip first, load order sequencing, so we want to load our glutes, all right, and our hams before we do anything else. So we're just going to sit back, okay, and then as I knee depth, I break my knees. We want to keep our shins parallel, and I want my neck neutral. We don't want to arch up, okay, and I want a nice flat back. All right, the grip, depending on the weight, as it gets heavier, we can do an under-over. I like to start out with a double over grip. Okay, tighten my abs, tighten my glutes, break at the hip, come down, grab the bar, got a neutral head. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of, as I start to stand, I'm just going to get my knees out of the way of the bar, and then extend. Then I'm going to go ahead and slide the bar back down to the knees, and back down to the shins, and back down. Again, up, get the knees out of the way, lock out, slide it back down, rest the weight. One thing that we find is very critical is that a lot of times athletes will want to kind of rock, arch back. And what we find is that with these movements, if they have excessive lower back, okay, and they're arched in their lower back position, okay, and they get to this knee extension part, well, they know their hips aren't fully extended because they're lordoic. So what they'll do is they'll rock back to kind of finish that. So the easy fix of that is make sure they get that posterior pelvic tilt. So as I do stand up, my hips are fully extended and I don't have that arch and they don't rock back. Okay, so as the strength phase, we're looking at 8 to 12 reps. Okay, as we get closer to the power phase, we're going to kind of add a little bit of speed to the movement, take away some reps. Okay, so that's the first thing in the strength phase. The next one is simply the squat. Okay, so the barbell squat, same thing, almost the exact same form with the deadlift. You want to make sure bars, grip, okay, good posterior pelvic tilt. We don't want a wide stance, we don't want a real narrow stance. We want to make sure that our knees are outside. We've got good external rotation. We want to squat down to the athlete's ability, and then go ahead and stand back up. Okay, nice tempo, smooth. Drive it down, and then back up. Drive down, back up. Okay, we want to watch out for that lordoic back. Okay, we don't want to overarch. We want to keep the hips underneath us. We want to keep neutral spine. Okay, so I want to flex my head up and I want to tuck my chin. I just want to pick a spot on the wall, stare at it, come back up. All right, bring it in. Okay, early in the strength phase, we want a nice 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up. Pause at the bottom if you feel like it, and with the squat. Great multi-joint exercise. Also can discover a lot of joint problems, maybe joint dysfunction, especially with the knee, the valgus knee, and the ankle. So if you can see, what we find is that athletes who have poor ankle they'll kind of cave in here. So we'll get that kind of navicular drop where the arch is collapsing. So we really want to work on that with the squat. Toes pointed straight, slightly outside. Okay, anything more, then we're looking, we're not where we want to be. We want to keep this technique as sport specific as possible. All right, so we want to make sure that hip and knee is all sports related. All right, so we don't want to get into a bodybuilding squat or a powerlifter squat. We want to be a nice football squat. Okay, the next exercise is glute ham. I think this is a great exercise for football athletes, all athletes in general. So we're going to try and see it. Now this is a bar. You can obviously do this with different equipment, but because of what we have in general weight rooms, this kind of works for that. Okay, so again, glute hams, posterior chain here. Okay, my heels are gonna come up. Knees are here. So ideally I want to keep a straight line from my shoulders down to my knees. All right. Athletes who are just getting into weight training, you might have to put plates here to kind of limit, and I'll show you why. But for most athletes, they can use their hands to kind of add or take away difficulty. So I'm going to kind of fall forward and then push myself up, and I'm going to engage my glutes and hams to get me back to this position. And pull up. Pull up. All right. So the stronger the athlete is, kind of the less push they need. Okay? And you can even challenge them to slower contractions. So a longer, slower eccentric, and then up. Okay? Again, great sport-specific movement. Okay, so we got extension at the knee. All right, so we're engaging the glutes and the core, and we're stabilizing the upper body at the same time. So that plays really well into the wide receiver. Okay, last two exercises. All right, simply the bicep curl. Okay, but what I like to do, I like to widen the grip. All right, so we get this kind of archetypical movement. So we're here, also opens the shoulder, that thoracic position. Keep the rib cage down, curling up, curling down, curling up, and curling down. 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. Again, if you want to emphasize, you can go a little bit slower. Don't need to go any faster, all right? You know, we're not looking to get any ballistic from the curl, all right? Want to make sure that the athlete isn't arching, okay? So at times a lot of athletes will kind of arch through it. They'll try to get that mechanical advantage by either leaning forward, all right? Kind of scooping that bar up, so you want to make sure that that good posture, tight abs, tight curl, or tight abs, tight glutes. That wide position, the archetypical position, will help with external rotation, strengthen up. Okay, next, I like to do the standing shoulder press. Again, good core exercise. Want to make sure that the elbows are pointing forward, tight abs, tight glutes, keep the rib cage down, press, kind of peek through, and then back. And I'll step back a little bit to show. Okay, so again, look through and down. Keeping the elbows forward, we don't want to wing the elbows. We want to make sure that the scapular muscles are all engaged and supporting. Here, and then back down, okay? So we want to make sure that this is typical, all right? These are strong. This is where the wide receiver is going to play in. The elbows out here is a non-desired form. So when you see they're catching, they're here, here, even here, so they get that position. So we want to bring all those shoulder muscles into play. All right, so that's the strength exercises.